Episode that we did for the record that aired last season, we had a very brave whistleblower named Rick Higbee. I told you about this guy. He came in about a year ago now, and I met with him a couple of times upstairs in the conference room. The guy was truly afraid for his life and afraid for his country and for his family. He gave us a thumb drive of some information and said, I'm risking everything to tell you this. But he used to work for the Department of State. He was one of the investigators for the Department of State. And he said there is child abuse, sexual child abuse going on in the State Department. And he named several names. He wasn't alone. There were others that came to us and said this was going on. We aired this episode last year. Nobody did anything about it. Tonight, we're going to re-air that episode because, what a surprise, the director of counterintelligence, the director of U.S. counterintelligence, was just arrested last night in Fairfax, Virginia, for soliciting sex of a minor. He had been corresponding with what he thought was a minor online for a while. He solicited sex, and you can see this dirtbag's picture online or on theblaze.com. He's a good-looking man. He was soliciting sex, and lo and behold, it turned out to be an undercover cop. They busted him yesterday in Fairfax. Now, who is this guy? Well, the good news is the guy who has been having, or at least in this case, solicited underage sex, he is one of the guys whose name we did not reveal last year, but he was one of the guys that we had multiple sources come out and question. And because we didn't have any proof of it, we didn't air, but they had questions about his activity, shall we say, his nighttime activity with the kiddies. We were concerned about him because he's the guy who just decides who comes into the United States and who doesn't come into the United States, who's deemed a terrorist, who's not deemed a terrorist. So if somebody's coming from, let's say, Saudi Arabia, and they're a terrorist, he can make that all go away. Now, I don't know about you, but I can't imagine that somebody who likes kiddie sex might have some angle where he could be squeezed. Do you?
Some skeletons in that closet, for sure.
We exposed it on For the Record. We will play that episode again because you need to see it. It is a culture in our State Department of drug abuse and child molestation. Child molestation. I told you last summer or last spring that I remember I came in, and I didn't tell you this on the air until we had the episode all verified. But I came in, and I was shaking from the first meeting, and I couldn't believe it was true. And there are things that I haven't revealed on the air because we don't have verification, but I happen to believe them. And I came in, and I said to the guys that day, they said, what's wrong? And I said, I just had a meeting today where I no longer believe in my country. It is official. I no longer think we're the good guys. Because of the things that we are covering. We're covering for an ambassador. I think he was in Belgium and then he went to the Netherlands. They brought him in for questioning and then they just put him back out. The allegation is that he has been having sex with underage children in foreign countries as the representative of the United States of America. And it's all being brushed under the table by our State Department. And you don't question the State Department. They're all powerful. What did Hillary Clinton know about this? What does John Kerry know about this? State Department investigators have come to the Blaze, and I will tell you this. If you are a member or a subscriber to the Blaze, I want to thank you today. For the Record is the most expensive show we do. It is more expensive than an episode of mine, by far. It is, 13 or 15 episodes a year or a season. It's very expensive to do because it has to be completely buttoned up, and they travel and it involves attorneys and everything else. We make sure that is absolutely right. And the idea behind it is somebody has to tell the truth. And the charge was that I gave them was, I want somebody to be able to open up this vault in 70 years and somebody to be able to say, nope, they knew. The American people were warned. There were people, there were patriots that actually stood up and said something, just nobody would listen to them. Nobody wanted to believe. And this is like the third or fourth time that we have had For the Record do a story that a year later, sometimes 2 years later, it comes out and it's verified. It is probably the only show out there that stands alone on some of these big, huge issues for a year and nobody talks about. And then all of a sudden, boom, there it is. You want to know what's happening in advance? Watch For the Record. And it could not be done without your subscription to the Blaze TV. If you're not a member, I would ask you to subscribe. It's extraordinarily expensive to do, but it is worth it. Somebody is getting to the truth. I will tell you that Rick and others have told us we are the only place that they can go to. They don't trust anyone else. These whistleblowers come to us and say, I don't trust anybody. There's nobody I trust that will actually tell the story. And the whistleblowers have been watching For the Record and know that we will tell their story and we will tell it the right way. And we do it because of you. Subscribe now to theblaze.com/TV. Subscribe now and help us set the record straight.